as if things couldn't get worse for the Philadelphia Phillies. They were just swept by one of the worst teams in all of Major League Baseball in 2025 so far. They were swept in a 3-game series out there in Pittsburgh to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just ugly, ugly series by the Phillies. They have now lost 3 consecutive series. They've lost 9 of their last 10 ball games and their last 5 games in a row. Just not good stuff by the Phillies. The offense has been abysmal going back to really that Atlanta Braves series, the end of that series, into the Brewers series, into the Blue Jays series, and now the Pirates series. And really, things do not get any easier for the Phillies moving forward. Really, the schedule up until through the All-Star break is very tough for the Phillies. So if they don't turn things around and figure things out quickly this season, this stretch of games for the next month or so could really affect their season and really put them in a bad position going into the second half of the season and the playoff push. But anyway, welcome into Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content. And unfortunately, I wish we could be talking about a Phillies win. There's been too many losses recently. It's really depressing at the end of the day having to talk about Phillies losing, offense stinking, bullpen blowing games, this and that, about the Phillies just not performing well. They are too good of a team to be playing how they are playing right now at such a low level. And really, the offense has been a huge, huge disappointment. They are wasting quality starts by these Phillies pitchers. The most recent examples have been Christopher Sanchez in Sunday's 2-1 loss to the Pirates, series finale loss to the Pirates. Christopher Sanchez, he's been not as good as he was last year, but he's still been pitching at a pretty high level. He has had command issues, but in Sunday's loss to the Pirates, he probably had his best game all season long, or definitely his best game as of late in most recent memory. He went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits. He had just 2 earned runs, and he had 9 strikeouts. But unfortunately, he was charged with the loss in that ball game because he went out there for the 8th inning, allowed a leadoff walk. He was replaced by Orion Kirkring. Orion Kirkring ended up allowing that run that was charged to Christopher Sanchez to give him 2 earned runs on the day because he allowed the walk. And that ended up being the game-winning run because the Phillies couldn't score in the 9th inning to push it into extra innings or take the lead and win it there in the 9th. So Christopher Sanchez ended with 2 earned runs in those 7 innings, had those 9 strikeouts, and a loss. Unfortunately, just, he pitched great, but unfortunately for him, he picked up the loss, and the Phillies wasted yet another good start by one of their starters. And not only did he pitch well, he held his own against arguably the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball, Paul Skeens. It was a great pitcher's matchup. The Phillies just came up on the short end of the stick because the offense just can't get the job done at the plate, and it's extremely frustrating, like I said, for such a talented team, talented roster, talented offense. You can even go back to Saturday. Ranger Suarez, the other lefty, one of the other lefties in the Phillies starting rotation, he pitched the heck out of the baseball as well in his start against the Pirates. He went 7 innings just like Christopher Sanchez. He allowed just 5 hits, also allowed 2 earned runs. He had 5 strikeouts, but unfortunately for Ranger Suarez, he picked up the loss as well in a 2-1 loss just like Christopher Sanchez. You can even go back to the Blue Jays series. Mick Abel, the rookie who made his second career start against the Blue Jays last Wednesday, he went 5 1/3 innings. He allowed just 3 hits and 1 earned run. And what do you know? The Phillies lost that ball game 2-1. All 3 games with these quality starts by their starting pitchers, the Phillies lost 2-1 because the offense just can't get the job done. And it's just incredibly frustrating as a Phillies fan. Just, you need to produce so much better than they have been, and it's really, 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 really frustrating, as I'm just going to keep saying it. Extremely frustrating. They are performing way below expectations, way below par, and they just need to hit better, have a better approach at the plate, drive in runs, work the count, get on base, all that kind of stuff, and they're just not doing it as a collective group. Some guys are doing it individually, but they're not doing it as a team, and that's why they're losing all of these ball games. Like I said, the offense is just way too talented to be struggling this much through this losing streak where they've lost 5 in a row, 9 of the last 2 games, 3 straight series, including this recent one to one of the worst teams in all of Major League Baseball, and the Pirates getting swept by them. In this 3-game series that they just lost and were swept by the Pirates, the Phillies offense could just muster only 14 hits and 6 runs, and 4 of those 6 runs were in game 1. So the last 2 games, they could only score 1 run each game, and it's just extremely frustrating, as I keep saying, for an offense that has incredible talent in Nick Castellanos, high paid, Kyle Schwarber, highly paid, Alec Boehm's one of the better hitters in the lineup. He's been hot. Trey Turner, extremely high paid. He's been hot at the plate, one of their most consistent hitters. Just from the top to the bottom, they should be doing a lot better. And I know Bryce Harper has been out, first with that elbow injury after getting hit by that 95-mile-per-hour fastball to his right elbow against Spencer Strider in that Braves series. He missed about a week, and now he's out again on the 10-day IL with a lingering wrist issue that's been affecting his swing, he says, throughout the season. But the offense should not be struggling this much without Bryce Harper in the lineup. I know having Bryce Harper in the lineup helps everybody else just because of his name, just because of his ability and what he can do at the plate. He takes pressure off of other guys in the lineup, allows them to have better pitches to see just because other pitchers are pitching around Bryce Harper. But still, with guys like Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, all these guys, JT Realmuto, they should be still playing at a high level and getting things done without Bryce Harper in the lineup, and they're just not doing it. And they just can't rely on Bryce Harper this much. Are they really that bad of a team without him? I don't know. It's just so weird, so frustrating. I know I've said that so many times this video so far, but it really just is. And it might lead to some change post-game after this sweep at the hands of the Pirates. Rob Thompson mentioned that he's been thinking about certain things. Maybe there could be change. I even wrote about it the other day. Could the Phillies make a change, especially at the top of the lineup? As particularly the leadoff hitter. As of late, for much of this season, they've been doing Bryson Stott, their second baseman, leading off against right-handed pitching as a left-handed hitter, and they've been doing Trey Turner leading off against left-handed pitching as a right-handed hitter. It was working for a while there. Bryson Stott was doing well in that role. Trey Turner was doing well. But Bryson Stott has cooled off tremendously in the recent weeks. Rob Thompson, he's committed. Well, maybe not anymore, but prior to this recent losing stretch, losing skid, he was committed to keeping Bryson Stott in the leadoff role against right-handed pitching, citing that he likes the length of at-bats that Bryson Stott produces, even though he just hasn't been getting the job done, hasn't been getting on base enough, hasn't been getting base hits, hasn't been able to make things happen at the top of the lineup. Yeah, length of at-bats, seeing pitches is a great trait, great quality out of a leadoff hitter, but you also have to get on base. You have to be able to use your speed on the base pass. Once you get on base, you have to be able to put the ball in play, get base hits, all that kind of stuff to get things rolling, especially, to lead off innings, to start games. And that's just not happening with Bryson Stott in the leadoff role right now for the Phillies. A change needs to happen, in my opinion. Bryson Stott now is batting .228 with a .280 on-base percentage in the leadoff spot in 2025. Just really bad numbers there. Obviously, the average very low. The on-base percentage extremely low. His .303 on-base percentage overall in 2025 is below MLB average. So really not a great quality for a leadoff guy. His .239 batting average is extremely low as well. Also not a good quality for a leadoff guy to have such a low average. On the flip side, Trey Turner is batting .300 in 2025 with a .353 on base percentage. In the leadoff role, he's batting .321, significantly higher than Bryson Stott is, with a .360 on base percentage, also significantly higher than Bryson Stott's on base percentage as a leadoff hitter. He's hitting both right-handed and left-handed pitching better than Bryson Stott. So in my opinion, it is definitely time to make Trey Turner the full-time leadoff hitter. See how that works. Bump Bryson Stott lower in the order. He's had success as the Phillies' 7th hitter, 8th hitter, lower in the order with less pressure. Bump him down there. See if he can figure things out at the plate. see if he can get back on track to the hitter that he's capable of being, working counts, getting on base, getting hits, being a clutch hitter, which he's known to be in the past. Because as the leadoff man, he is simply not getting the job done. And that's, you start the game with your leadoff guy. And if he's not setting the tone up there at the top of the order, then, something needs to change. And Trey Turner has been very consistent for the Phillies, one of their best hitters, one of their hottest hitters, and he's getting the job done in the leadoff role. So time to make a change. Could they also be making a change as the July 31st trade deadline nears here? Obviously, the outfield has been a weakness, particularly the left field platoon situation between Max Kepler, Brandon Marsh, Weston Wilson, even center field between Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas. Just not getting the productivity out of the outfield that you would hope for. And there is an outfielder by the name of Jarren Duran of the Boston Red Sox, whose name has been all over trade rumors, not just with the Phillies, but with every contending team that needs outfield help in Major League Baseball as the deadline nears. As I said, Jarren Duran, he's an outfielder, obviously. He's 28 years old. He's a left-handed hitter. The Red Sox are currently entering Sunday. The Red Sox are currently in 4th place in the American League East, 9.5 games behind the New York Yankees, who are in 1st place in that division, 4 games out of the wild card in the American League. If they lose some more ground, not only in the division, but in the wild card race as the July 31st trade deadline nears, they could be sellers. And that's why guys like Jarren Duran, Aroldis Chapman, the legendary closer, among others, have been in trade rumors, because once you fall out of contention, other teams are going to be calling to see availability of some of your better players to help them for their playoff push. And not to mention the Red Sox number 1 prospect and the number 1 prospect in all of Major League Baseball, Roman Anthony. He's an outfielder. So if the Red Sox want to see what he can do at the Major League level soon, Jarren Duran could be on his way out, and that opens it up a spot for Roman Anthony. So it could all work out for the Red Sox if they continue to lose pace in the wild card race, in the playoff race in the American League East. Now, Jarren Duran, he's set to make $8 million in 2026 next year. He's got 2 years of arbitration eligibility after that, so he won't be a free agent until after the 2028 season going into 2029, which means his trade value will be extremely high, because when you have club control with a player who's had success at the Major League level, teams are going to be asking for a lot in return, because they're not just going to give away a guy with club control at a relatively young age in their prime away for nothing. Even if they are out of playoff race, they'd rather, keep them for the future or get the best offer they possibly can for that specific player. Jarren Duran had a solid season in 2020. Jarren Duran had a solid season in 2023 with the Red Sox. He batted .295 with 34 doubles and 24 stolen bases in 102 games. So he's an electric player. He can make things happen at the plate, on the base paths. He can drive it into the gaps. He can hit home runs. He had a breakout season, though, in 2024. He batted .285 with 48 doubles, 14 triples, 21 home runs, 75 RBIs, and 34 stolen bases. He missed just 2 games. He played in 160 out of 162 games. In 2024, he was named an All-Star, and he was named the All-Star MVP in 2024. Jarren Duran can play all 3 outfield positions. He's played mostly left field in 2025, but on the contrary, he played mostly center field in 2024. I did see a trade package with the top 10 destinations for Jarren Duran if he were to be traded by Bleacher Report the other day, and the Phillies were number 4 on the list out of 10. The trade was Andrew Painter, the Phillies' number 1 prospect, one of the top prospects in all of Major League Baseball, the big right-handed starting pitcher, and Eduardo Tate, the young 18-year-old catcher who's killing it in the minor leagues in the low levels. He's the Phillies' number 4 prospect. In return, they would get Jarren Duran, solve an immediate issue in the outfield. Obviously, you're getting rid of 2 extremely young, talented players in Painter and Tate. So my opinion, absolutely not. I'm not doing that for Jarren Duran. Although Jarren Duran is also having a pretty solid 2025 season. You could consider it somewhat of a down year so far through these early parts of June. Entering Sunday, he's batting .274 with a .329 on-base percentage, a .427 slugging, .756 OPS with 17 doubles, 7 triples, 4 home runs, 35 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases. So like I said, somewhat of a down year compared to last year, especially in his All-Star season. Just in my opinion, he's a good player. He's only 28. He's got a lot of club control left. He could be a part of the Phillies, not only to help them win now, to compete for a championship, but for the next few years. But I am just not ready to part with Andrew Painter, who's still extremely young. He's got all the talent in the world, can be a Paul Skeens type of starter for this Phillies team for a long, long time. And Eduardo Tate, obviously the Phillies need catching depth, need a catcher of the future, and he is projecting to be that for the Phillies. So I am not doing this trade. I am out on Jarren Duran if that's what it's going to take. If they can get him for something less than that, I might be all in. But for this specific trade package of Andrew Painter and Eduardo Tate, stay away. Now, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this episode of Phillies Daily. I know they've been losing a lot, but hopefully they can get back on track. Starting against this next series against the Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Henley. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content. Hopefully, like I said, the Phillies get back on track, back to their winning ways, starting as soon as possible, starting hopefully in the very next game they play. Again, thank you for watching, and go Phils.